So it appears even with the cancellation of Batgirl, people still don't understand what David Zaslav is doing. Quality over quantity. Yes, you keep seeing Warner Bros. Discovery, HBO Max cancelling programs because quality over quantity. They want people to return to the services and keep rewatching things. That is why you're seeing shows like Westworld getting cancelled. So, and this ties in to what James Gunn has recently said on the Twitter sphere. Whilst acknowledging the fans, he's also basically said, not happening. So, yo, what is freaking good YouTube? What's you here? If you're new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, pop culture based content that we try to do on a daily basis. If you could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know, do you actually agree with what I'm saying based on what everything is going around? Also, if you could, follow us on the Twitter sphere, Warstu G, to never miss any of my quirky, sarcastic, trolly comments. And also, check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see that beautiful face behind that beautiful voice. So, this weekend was pretty significant. If you were a David Ayer or Ayer fan, there was the Release the Ayer Cut hashtag. And also, according to James Gunn, save Legends of Tomorrow. Legends of Tomorrow used to be a very good program. So, I think it is quite significant what James Gunn is doing. And this is why James Gunn is such a good pick, because he debunks scoopers, Grace Randolph, etc. so many times. When someone is saying something, he's like, no, that is not true. He probably won't conduct himself in the same manner. Now he's a CEO and one of the head of DC Universe Studios, DC Studios. He probably won't be conducting himself in the debunking matter anymore. But it is refreshing to see someone who's the head of DC Studios at least acknowledging what the fans are trying to do. But he has basically said it's a hard no. So he said this. Opened up Twitter at the end of a long creative weekend to see many tweets to save Legends of Tomorrow. I didn't even know that was a thing. They should have cancelled that years ago after the Black Flash season. And released the Ayer Cut and the fan support for other DC projects over the years. The majority of these requests were enthusiastic and respectful. That is so cool. But here's where he basically says no. As the new and first ever CEO of DC Studios, Peter, and I think it's important we acknowledge you. Okay, a major studio acknowledging fans. It's finally happened, and this isn't in an interview. This is him randomly going on his Twitter. And this is where he debunks and kind of acknowledges, discredits at the same time the fans, and let you know we hear your different desires for the pathways to DC. Although our ability to interact on Twitter has been lessened due to the workload of our new positions, it's also worth saying James Gunn is still actively working on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 whilst being head of DC Studio. We are listening and open to everything as we embark on this journey, and will continue to do so over the next 4 years. Now, this is where he says, we hear you, but it's not happening. It doesn't align with our future goals. It doesn't align with what we want, the goals for DC, and obviously the goals for Warner Bros. Discovery. But our initial focus is on the story going forward, hammering out the new DCU, telling the biggest story ever across multiple films, television, and animated projects. We invite all of the DC fandoms across the multiverse and everyone else into the new universe. We can't wait to reveal more about it. So essentially, some people have taken this that if we keep asking for the Ayer Cut, they will give us it. No, I honestly don't think we're ever going to see it, because it doesn't add any value. It doesn't add anything going forward. Yes, this is open communication between the head of DC Studios, well, one of the head of DC Studios, and the fans, but he's acknowledging what the fans want, but he's also saying, no, it's not going to happen, because you got to read between the lines. Hammering out the new DCU, telling the biggest story ever told over multiple films, television, and animated projects. So releasing the Ayer Cut aligns with Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. It adds more continuity. And you get more Batfleck, you get more Harley, you get more Joker. But releasing the Ayer Cut, and yes, I want the Ayer Cut, but you've got to understand Releasing the Ayer cut doesn't add any more value to Warner Bros. Discovery. Yes, it will get you brownie points with the fandom, but let's be honest. Let's really be honest here. Yes, I understand Restore the Snyderverse still trends to this day. The Twitter sphere is a very small proportion of the people that actually go out and support the movies. Just take Black Adam, for example. Yo, let's chuck Superman in it. It's gonna bang. And then we look at the numbers and people keep saying, yo, Warstu, you don't know what you're on about. Why do you keep coming down on Black Adam? Because The Rock is allegedly the biggest star in the world. I say allegedly because I don't really think he is anymore. Allegedly the highest grossing actor in the world. $320 million. Pathetic. Pathetic. The Rock is the biggest star in the world. Henry Cavill, Superman appears. Internationally, $182 million. That's 57%. Only $135 million domestically. Come on, Americans. Support the new DC universe. So this Black Adam movie aligns with what they want. Yes, I get David Zaslav comments when he says Black Adam was successful. He's saying it in a roundabout way because the fans acknowledge Black Adam. It got accreditation. This movie got slaughtered by Rotten Tomato, but the fans reacted positively to it. They just didn't with their pockets. I get it. The movie's only been about 17 to 20 days-ish. We get it. But Wakanda Forever Black Panther 2 comes out this Friday, and that will decimate $300 million globally in the opening weekend easily. So, yes, I do want the Ayer cut. I do think they are listening. But are they going to release it? When they're cancelling shows like Westworld, which I think is very good, but technically the ratings have been going down season after season. And then you look at the Ayer cut. Yes, they could release it. Batgirl, they could have released that. That cost a lot more than the Ayer cut of money that they've wasted. So are they going to release the Ayer cut? Yes, I understand people have seen it, but I'm more interested in what big universe they are teasing. What's going to happen? Obviously, it's going to have a spiral effect, knock-on effect, because technically the SnyderVerse, technically the Black Adam movie, the Flash movie, Aquaman 2, Blue Beetle, technically that's all still SnyderVerse stuff because he will be getting a credit on that. Obviously, they're going to change stuff. There's going to be multiple reshoots for all these projects. Your boy Henry Cavill and Warstu could appear in any of them. Sure, we get that. But ultimately, it is cool. They're acknowledging the fans. They really are. Who brought Henry Cavill back? We don't know. We really don't know. So let's address the fake news, I'm going to call it, even though it came from a Hollywood report. Steven Spielberg, Christopher Nolan to direct Man of Steel 2. So allegedly, there was a meeting between David Zaslav, Steven Spielberg, and also Christopher Nolan. I don't understand where people are getting Man of Steel 2. Where's that come from? Like, really, like, I don't understand why people were throwing that movie about, why they had a meeting. Do people not realize how small Hollywood is? There's only a few places people go in Hollywood to have business meetings and to go for lunch. Hollywood isn't exactly a very big place. Everyone in Hollywood knows everyone in Hollywood. So the fact they had a meeting, I hate to say it, it's kind of irrelevant. Yes, I could have told you this a year ago. David Zaslav said he wants to repair relationships with directors, actors, talent. And who did they screw over the most? Christopher Nolan with Tenet. They really screwed him over. Tenet was a very good movie, but they did the BS during You Know What Happened in the World. But according to my comment section, You Know What Happened in the World is still not over. But if I go from my experience in the world, I went to Mexico this summer, everything was open. Everything's open in Europe. So I don't understand when people say whatever happened in the world is still happening. So sure, they did have meetings, allegedly. And yes, it was a trade that reported that. No one actually said it's for Man of Steel 2. The initial report from the Hollywood Reporter didn't even say it was for Man of Steel 2. They literally had a lunch meeting. We don't know what it was about. Anyway, Christopher Nolan has a big deal with Universal, and Steven Spielberg's working on some other stuff. So yeah, sure, they could have spoke about Man of Steel 2. And yes, it would be a huge win if either Christopher Nolan or Steven Spielberg or Warstu directed the next Man of Steel 2 movie. I think I understand why everyone's jumping on this bandwagon, because outside of Joker 2, we already know who's directing that. We already know they've confirmed the Batman 2 with Matt Reeves most likely come out in 2025. There is nothing else that anybody knows about. So the only other project that's officially out there is Man of Steel 2, but they've only got a producer. They haven't got a director. The script hasn't been written yet. So yeah, I understand people's logic, how they're like, yeah, Steven Spielberg to direct Man of Steel 2 when there is literally no information other than, yeah, they had a meeting. I mean, it's cool they had a meeting, but Zaslav said he wants Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman to be at the forefront of DC. So that's pretty much what they're doing. Zaslav's pretty much doing everything he said he was going to do. Of course he's going to have meetings with Christopher Nolan. Warner Bros, he didn't personally, but Warner Brothers screwed Nolan over. So of course they're going to try and repair relationships. If you go back to Warner Bros, Time Warner history with Harry Potter, with Lord of the Rings, they have some of the biggest IPs in the world back in the past. Christopher Nolan, highest rated DC director ever. So of course they're going to reach out to him, but you've got to understand quality over quantity. And with that, it has to add a story to whatever they are trying to do. Releasing the Ayer cut doesn't add any value to the new DC universe, does it? No, it's in the past. Sure, he did say in this message, loads of different DC paths could collide. Sure, that's the multiverse, but are they going to release the Ayer cut like your Mickey Mouse trades are telling you? Well, your Mickey Mouse trades have been telling you all year the Ayer cut is going to be here. Sure, of course, David Ayer himself is going to acknowledge it because he wants his director's cut of the movie to come out. And everyone who's a real DC fan, not a SnyderVerse fan, we want the Ayer cut to come out. But if you are behind the new plan that DC has, there is no point releasing the Ayer cut. And a lot of people are probably going to say I'm a fake DC fan, but realistically, whatever they're doing with The Flash, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, Shazam 2, it doesn't align with the Ayer cut and the new vision that David Zaslav has. And realistically, when it comes to meeting the directors, it's going to be James Gunn and Pete Safran who does the hiring of the new directors. Sure, Zaslav has an overlook of everything and they still report to him, but realistically, they wouldn't have made Pete Safran and James Gunn the CEO and heads of DC Studios if they didn't have 100% control over what is going to happen. Sure, they've got guidelines, just like Kevin Feige had guidelines in the early days, and Bob Iger was the head honcho, and then eventually Kevin Feige had full power. We get it, they're on an initial 4-year contract, but that doesn't mean it can't and won't be extended. So if they are going to hire Steven Spielberg or Christopher Nolan to do Man of Steel 2 or the Ben Affleck movie or whatever, it will be James Gunn and Pete Safran meeting them. Sure, I get it, Pete Safran was there. But I think if you are a DC fan overall, hell, a Warner Bros. Discovery fan overall, they might even be cracking out another new Harry Potter season, series, trilogy of movies, quadruple movies. They might have been doing the same with Lord of the Rings because apparently they've got the movie rights to Lord of the Rings, yet Embracer Group has the overall rights to Lord of the Rings. It's kind of interesting how many IPs Warner Bros. Owns. So it looks like they're going to be doing stuff with everything. Remember, Warner Bros. Being bought out by Discovery, merging to make a new company, making Warner Bros. Discovery is so much bigger than just DC. But DC can and will be very profitable. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. And we'll catch you in another video, guys, very soon. Catch ya later.